So here's the thing. Arc Raiders won. It won in so many ways. First of all, we've already talked about it. It basically destroyed Marathon. But also extraction shooters. People have seen this gold rush for an extraction shooter. And I think no game has really done it right. Tarkov maybe is the closest to doing it right. But we're all kind of waiting for this next big thing. Raiders is the best extraction shooter that I have played. Not that I've played all of them, but it's the best one that I've played. And I think there's a lot of reasons for it. And I started to watch this video by Jack Frags called ARC Raiders. Attention to detail is on another level. And I'm like, I need to watch this with you guys because you're going to see as soon as you start this, you're going to be blown away. And you're going to be like, that is why this game feels so good compared to other extraction shooters.
Raiders is full of incredible details that enhance the experience and gameplay, adding a layer of player agency and depth that is rare to see. Let's take a look at some of these details in today's video. With this being an extraction game, looting and surviving with a successful exit from the map is key to growing and building up your gear. However, if you're knocked out and not finished off, you can still interact with the escape elevator. You can crawl in very slowly, it's going to be risky and very...
So, just take this as one example. Why is this important? Because most of those extraction elevators are guarded by AI. When you go down, the AI doesn't go after you anymore. So yeah, if a player kills you, you're going to die. But at the same time, it's giving you a chance. And that is not even the crazy part. That is not even the attention to detail. Check this out.
Dangerous. You might get knocked out still, but if you can reach it before you bleed out and die for good, they actually built a custom animation for this.
Like... what? You pull yourself up onto the terminal.
Pretty incredible, imagine the feeling, and not something that you usually see in this genre of game. The arc machines that are trying to kill you are terrifying, especially the big beasties like the Queen here.
So as we go through this, the thing that you're going to realize is the thing that this game does so well for a shooter is fear. And not in the way that it's going to jump scare you or anything like that, although I did run into some of that, but just suspense, like feeling like you are a small part in this, like an enemy team is going to kill you, like the arc machines, like the Queen here is just going to decimate you, is constantly around the corner.
However, did you know that you can actually climb on top of them if you're lucky and you get the correct angle? Kind of difficult because they have to be below you, of course, but in this scenario, I managed to just about climb on top of one of the small flying drones whilst it attacked me mid-air. And then, of course, you can bask in your glory, surf it around to your heart's content. It can't see you or attack you either when you're up there. It's very confused. But this does give you an option to jump off at a higher location while it does its scouting pattern or goes towards other players, or you could just kill it safely from above. While I was surfing this one, I did try and wave at this fellow Arc Raider from my trusty flying steed, but obviously they weren't too happy about that and just shot me in the face. Fair play. The parkour or free running system in the game allows you to string some smooth movements together, sliding, vaulting and jumping through windows at a rapid pace. But yesterday, I realized that you can use it to negate all fall damage if you find something to grab onto before you hit solid ground. Here I climbed to the top of the towers on the spaceport map and took a wild leap off the top. Looks like certain death, right? But if you angle it just correctly on the way down and time your button press for a ledge grab at the right moment.
See, some people won't like that because it's realism, right? It's not realism, but
you can hang on to something, pull yourself up and not take any damage. Very useful for a quick getaway for sure. Maybe that one's going to be patched out, but it is fun as hell while it lasts. The animation systems in the game are very impressive and natural looking. Here, for example, when you start sprinting from a standstill or a slow speed, the character takes one heavy step to get going with their run. It's a very subtle detail, but it helps so much with the movements feeling lifelike and believable. The weight of
it's a lot of this game. It feels believable.
In there, it just feels
building
good.
The suspense.
There's also different animations for when you're rolling and low on stamina. The roll massively slows down if you spam it, and the animation changes as you expire your energy. You'll also notice how the running animation changes here too. The head wobbles and the arms get wider and sluggish. It's a good way to tell if you or other enemy players are out of stamina. When falling off high locations too, there is an ankle sprain or stumble animation. Look at this. You'll take a bit of damage and be staggered before you can get up and go again. However, from certain heights you can mitigate this by pressing the roll button right before you land. This will help you maintain momentum and won't inflict any pain on you either. There's even an animation for when you're low health. As you can see here, the player is very injured Visibly so, in fact, holding their...
See, these things are a little less impressive, right? Like they're things that in a polished game you will get, and in an unfinished game or free to play game, how I traditionally think of it, you will not, right? Like these are definitely things that are just like in premium games, I want to say. But not all premium games, for the love of God.
If you heal up, the animation changes back to a more normal stance. While you're walking through the game, sometimes you may see birds flying in the air. This isn't just nice environmental detail though, as these birds are triggered by players. If you see or hear a flock of birds take to the sky and begin circling, they've been startled by a player. They will also land if you wait long enough too. This is a great mechanic for keen-eyed players to pay attention to, knowing when enemies may be nearby and preparing for a fight. Also something to look out for in terms of not triggering this for yourself, or perhaps even on purpose to bait people into a trap. The melee weapon that you have has two different attack methods.
I didn't use this at all.
Or overhand smashes, left and right mouse burn. You can use each of these to target certain enemies. For example, with this fireball droid here, I used several heavier overhead attacks to take it out as it rolled around on the floor, attempting to murder me with some kind of flamethrower. I killed it eventually and then looted it. On it, I found a fireball burner. This is an item that's used for crafting or trading, but another use for it is actually in the game. You can equip it to your quick use menu and throw it at enemies, setting them ablaze. I threw it at a Hornet drone here to finish it off, and then I looted that. On it, I found a Hornet driver. And guess what? You can also use that in game.
This is the kind of stuff that this game does so well. You may be down and out, but you always have a chance. You can use materials back at base to craft ammo and weapons, and you're going to have enough because of your chicken. If you haven't played the game, that sounds really weird. I understand that. But you have a chicken that gets you spare parts that you can craft things with. You just always have a fighting chance. And even like something like this, where if you explode something with something else, it's going to give you another explodey thing, right? Like just like little things like that.
As well as crafting. It will create an electric explosion wherever it lands. As I walked out the door, I found a body and I started looting it. Very suspicious. Suddenly, I was attacked by a player swinging at me wildly. I ran away, I made my escape, and then I threw the Hornet driver at the player to cover my escape, shocking and damaging him with electricity from the explosion. This gave me a few seconds and then enabled me to return fire with my assault rifle before eventually throwing out a heavy grenade into the foliage that they were healing in and taking them out. I absolutely loved this sequence of events, and I thought it was a nice showcase of how many of the systems in the game can come together and create opportunities and options for players. He's got to be in there. Hey, I got him. There's the flare. Talked about. That was so cool. The melee weapon can also be used to breach containers and take the loot on the inside, but it does have another use. You can hook it to zip lines and use the motor on it to traverse up and down them without the need for an additional gadget. There is a hookshot gadget in the game too, and you can use this to zip across large gaps and flank enemies on roofs. You get it a bit later on, you can find it in game.
I think there's going to be a lot of secrets found with that.
But once you craft it, it completely changes the traversal mechanics in the game. I feel like this will be a very important item, especially in late game PvP. See ya.
See ya.
What's mad is like...
Whee! Hell yeah.
It's about 20
Sick.
meters.
Cheers, Jack.
That's cool, isn't it?
That's cool. Cheers, Jack. Oh!
The audio in the game in general is incredible, and there are many sonic cues that will give you away. For example, these car alarms that are somehow still functioning.
So little things like this, the cameras, as you go through into one of the bigger buildings that have more loot in them, the entrances will have cameras. So you have two options. You can shoot them, reveal your position that way. They'll go off, or you can try to sneak by them. But if you're in the building and you hear one go off, you know someone's there. Or if you hear one get shot, you know someone's there. It's just like little things like that they thought of that work so well. And when you're in those bigger buildings, it's needed because people could sneak up on you incredibly easy.
I gotta get me one of those batteries. You can break them, of course, to disable them, or these metal detectors as you enter certain buildings.
Yep, there's
you can
another
avoid
one.
them, yeah, but a whack or two will do the job to disable them just as well. My personal favorite audio in the game, though, is when you slide downstairs. Have a listen, hearing every bump on the way down. That's just such a satisfying noise for some reason. I do feel sorry for the characters behind though. Can't be comfortable with that one. And yes, before you ask, if you're on a ladder, you can slide all the way down. To do this, you just have to hold the sprint key. Also very satisfying and sounds incredible. There's an item in the game called the defibrillator. Its main purpose and use is to quickly revive knockdown teammates. But if you knock an enemy down and end up feeling guilty about it, you can actually use this to save their life as well.
Didn't
So
know
because
that.
they aren't on your team, you can't revive them by the normal interacting process, but the defibs will.
That's
it's up to
attention
you
to
to
detail.
decide whether to use them or not. How guilty do you feel? I've certainly changed my mind a couple of times because I've heard people plead on proximity chat. It throws up some interesting moral dilemmas that
Well, he
do
is
tug on your
almost dead.
emotions. And the final little detail that I love, in the game you'll find rocks on the ground and you can pick these up and throw them to destroy cameras and the like, but more importantly, you might find yellow rubber ducks. These are a quest item at a certain point, hold on to them if you got them, but you can also throw them and use them as distractions for arc drones or even players. Here I got the attention of a drone with a rubber duck and then it moved off. It appears that a yellow rubber ducky is irresistible, even to a machine. And with that said, that's all for today folks. Do let me know if you've managed to get in the playtest yet and any crazy details that you've seen or found. Drop them in the comments.
We gotta enjoy
Hope
the
you enjoyed
music
video.
first.
Leave me a like, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Every time. Anyway, this game is and will be successful for a couple of reasons. First of all, I do believe Embark makes really good games. Like the Finals is a really good game. But the attention to detail is just one thing. But I think all of that detail that he talked about is to make the game feel a certain way. They have a vision, a idea of what their game needs to be, what it needs to feel like, an identity, if you will. And I think having solo play in there adds a really suspenseful mode. Like going in solo is scary because you go down, you're dead. Like that is that. And like just having that suspense in there. Whereas Marathon, you can't, like you can play solo, but you're playing against trios and you're gonna get swamped, right? And just like all of those little things, those little attention to details, like the way that the AI patrol, the way that they patrol near the exits, like all of these things just make so suspenseful. And I've had raids where I've gone in and I spawn in right beside a big building, and for 20 minutes I am in that one building because I kill someone and I finally get to loot a room, and then by the time I've looted that room, someone else comes in and now I have to fight them. And then a couple robots come at me. And it's like this entire story of one building that I've been in for such a limited time. But it feels so much more realistic to what you would actually feel in that situation that no other extraction shooter I have played has actually made me feel. I wish this game was a first-person shooter. If this was a first-person shooter, I don't think... like this would be what I played. Like this would be it. But maybe if I get over that, it will still be that thing because it is really that good, and I will be playing it more 100%.